We have an all-star panel to walk us through some of the legalities of today's trial proceedings. MSNBC legal analyst and former federal prosecutor Cynthia Alksne, attorney and NBC legal analyst Danny Cevallos. He's here with me. Cynthia, let me start with you. House manager and chairman of the Intel Committee, Adam Schiff, outlining the Democrats' opening arguments. I'd like to play something he said that pretty much sums up his case for Trump's removal from office.
Impeachment exists for cases in which the conduct of the president rises beyond mere policy disputes to be decided otherwise and without urgency at the ballot box. Instead, we are here today to consider a much more grave matter, and that is an attempt to use the powers of the presidency to cheat in an election. For precisely this reason, the president's misconduct cannot be decided at the ballot box.
Your reaction to that strategy?
I mean, I think it's basically true. I mean, that's the beauty of the strategy. I mean, he was very effective today, more effective than I thought when he was talking about the facts in the argument than when he was quoting Hamilton. But I thought he was very effective at not only repeating and going through the facts, but then taking a pause and then asking the question, why is that important, and then answering it. Very effective today. I thought his tone was good. He was appealing to the better angels of the Senate. And he was also taking the time, in my opinion, to appeal to the other jury, in this case, the American voter. Some have criticized, oh, it's getting too boring. But the truth of the matter is different people tune into television at different times. And so we really need to make sure that not only are all the senators awake for this argument, but that everybody who tunes in during the day over the course of their day gets the information that they need in order to be really educated about what's happened in the White House.
Danny, this morning in Davos, the president talked about the documents Senate Democrats have been trying to access. Here's what he said.
We're doing very well. I got to watch enough. I thought our team did a very good job. But honestly, we have all the material. They don't have the material.
Danny, the Democrats jumped on that one right away, saying the president's bragging about obstructing justice there. You're a defense attorney. What do you say?
Isn't it amazing that President Trump has successfully gotten us to a point where we automatically think when he says something like that, oh, he's not so great with words. What he meant instead of material is substance. He meant probably, because I'm sure that's exactly what he's going to say. Let me say that this way. He has to say that. There's no other defense to saying we have the material, they don't have the material. Because if he does mean documents and records that we're refusing to turn over, that just bolsters the Article 2 argument that he's obstructing Congress. So that is not a good position. But amazingly, he will claim, or his defenders will claim, he meant we have the substance. We have the more powerful argument. And you know what? We'll accept it. We'll accept it because he's created an atmosphere where we think, oh, he doesn't really communicate well. He doesn't have a very strong vocabulary. He meant material, or did he mean, you know, better argument or stronger argument or substance or facts? And we'll buy it. We'll buy it because that's what we've been conditioned to buy now.
Cynthia, White House attorney Jay Sekulow told reporters today what he's most eager to rebut when it's the defense's turn. Here's a little bit of what he said.
Notice what's not in the articles of impeachment. Allegations or accusations of quid pro quo. That's because they didn't exist.
Does quid pro quo, the term quid pro quo, need to be specifically mentioned in the articles?
No, it doesn't at all. That was kind of a silly argument, frankly, in my opinion. The abuse of power includes the quid pro quo. It includes a violation of the Impoundment Act. It includes essentially extortion and bribery. It is an umbrella term to cover the president misusing his authority as the president for his own personal political gain. And quid pro quo is part of that abuse of power.
Danny, we saw the president talking just a moment ago. He addressed the press several times today. If you were his lawyer, would you be okay with that?
Oh, that's a softball. Of course not. As a defense attorney, the first thing I tell my clients is do not make public statements. But the other thing as a defense attorney is sometimes you have a client who's going to do exactly what they want to do. After all, with many clients...
Wait a second. You think this is one of those examples?
Right. And exactly that, especially in criminal defense. Sometimes the client that does whatever they want to do, that's why they're your client to begin with, because they do everything in life their way. Their way or the highway. highway, and that's how they've arrived at this point. Similarly with Trump, he's done everything. Even I'm called to mind of his dance when he was being inaugurated, and he mouthed the words to Frank Sinatra's "My Way." This is someone that does things his way. When his attorneys meet with him, he's telling them how it's going to be. And that's why he goes through a lot of attorneys, because sooner or later, the attorney has to do what's best for the client, not exactly what the client wants. So similarly, I am certain every single lawyer he has had has tried to say to him, dial down the social media, and I'm sure every single lawyer has gone back to the other lawyers and said, he's not doing it. We have a decision to make. Can we continue to represent him, or do we have to withdraw? And in most cases, they stay on board unless he materially destroys their own defense.
Hey, NBC News viewers, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down here, and click on any of the videos over here to watch the latest interviews, show highlights, and digital exclusives. Thanks for watching.